Hey everyone, welcome to another video. This is our full review of the ResinWorks EasyCast 400 series resin. So this resin kind of gave us the runaround. It's definitely for professional use is the words I'm going to use. It's definitely not as plug and play as some of the other more plastic polymer based ones. This resin requires a very, very exact exposure time or you start to get failure. So the 400 series has 40% wax content, which is really, really high. And what that says to me as someone who has tried so many different castable resins is that this resin is going to be very brittle. And that is definitely true, which we'll go into in a little bit. I have some models here that we'll take the supports off of and you can just see how brittle it is. So we started off with our exposure test, which was really pathetic looking, frankly. Now it did print. There are successful aspects of it, but this resin is not meant for this kind of model. The outer supports, the whole basis of this model is about 0.2 millimeters. That's what the structure of the ball is made of, and it's very, very thin. With the 40% wax content, the EasyCast 400 is designed for heavy models. So we're talking like maybe 6 millimeters, not 0.2 millimeters. Massive difference. And that definitely shows. So I did one of these prints. It did not work, and I was just kind of, I'm just not going to play with this. We're going to move on to other models, and that is indeed what I did here. I ran multiple exposure times, and we got some pretty good results. So these are our standard print models that we run across many of our resins just for direct comparison purposes, and they turned out pretty well. All the stone settings, all the little prongs, everything turned out wonderful. The only thing, aside from the snakes, that didn't turn out flawlessly, and it's not even the same across both models, was some of the holes on this micro Pave one got filled in very slightly, but I am very, very confident in saying that has almost everything to do with the exposure time. In this case, with the stone settings, it may have been a matter of a fraction of a second for exposure time. With the new SL1S, we can dial in the exposure times not to the second, but by the 0.1 of a second. So speaking of the SL1S, we noticed a significant amount of breakage with a lot of our models. And I believe not only is that having to do with the brittleness of the resin, but it has a lot to do with the aggressiveness of how the tank tilts on the SL1S. So we had to dial it right back to the old SL1 type setting, which was a 5-second slow drop. So I have yet to dial in that very precise exposure time. However, for these models, I was running it at a 30-second base layer, which I had excellent adhesion with, so it might even be able to go down a little bit. And I believe it was 10 seconds per layer for everything else with a slow tilt time. That translates if you're using something like any other printer, honestly, where it just kind of lifts up to separate the FEP. You may want to make that a slow process so it doesn't put as much stress on the supports. And then I guess speaking of supports, you definitely use thicker supports and more than you think you might need. So let's just take off some supports from this model. We'll do a couple others as well, but I just want to give you a feel for how brittle this resin is. So these ones up here, this, by the way, this is not a very difficult process. It's really, really simple, just a very slight amount of pressure, and it just crumbles. We'll take off the skull now. The skull's pretty well supported in many ways, and it's usually just a simple matter of twisting. That was pretty clean. But you saw how much force was required? Very, very little. So this resin is quite brittle. So if you're printing service and you're printing these for clients and then sending it out through the mail or something, definitely take care when you package them, because if someone decides to, drop kick the package or something, it may not survive the trip. Message from the future, I guess. By the time we finished editing this video, pretty much in its entirety, we received the Mars 3 in the meantime. So I'm just kind of tacking this on to this part of the review. due diligence that we did test the ResinWorks 400 series on the Mars 3. And so far, I think the results are really good. I'm just about to take the print off the bed, so I'll be able to show you a little bit more about how well it's adhering and stuff like that. This is something that I thought was worth sharing. This is coming right after we've decanted those prints. They're ready to be cured. This is the state of the tank. It is extremely, extremely viscous. Very soup-like. It kind of reminds me of when, you know, like you have a fatty soup or something and you let it cool down. It's got that like skim bit on top of just fat that's floated. That's what this kind of feels like. And I had this exact same problem with the Prusa. I really don't know what it is. When I contacted ResinWorks support about this, they suggested that maybe I was overexposing the resin on the SL1 because I really didn't have and still don't have a solid print profile. Now, regardless, we have had good prints. This one should have been more tuned than that. So this, I don't think it's related to heat, the overexposure. I think it really has to do with heat. They don't state anywhere on this bottle that this resin needs to be preheated or anything. They specifically told me that when I was emailing them. Now, my entire studio room here is probably like 20 degrees Celsius, maybe 21, 22, something like that. So it's really not outside the realm of the normal. I don't understand why it's quite as thick as this. There's like kind of a layer on top. So that's something that if anyone has any answers, more than willing to hear. Comment down below if you know what's going on, because I'm very curious, and I'm sure ResinWorks is as well. I haven't heard of this issue with anyone else, so I'm curious. We're going to be spruing these up in just a couple of minutes, and we will get the casting results to you very shortly. And I expect them both to turn out really, really well. And we're back with the results for ResinWorks EasyCast 400 series. And I'm happy to report, much like the 200 series, that it turned out perfect. Actually better than 200 series. The casting quality on the 200, if you recall, had very slight bit of surface texture on some of the, especially like very, very light. We're talking, it can be polished off without any need for real sanding, just around edges and little things like that. There is not a trace of it on any one of these models whatsoever. However, something that we weren't able to achieve very well was the fact that it's designed for heavier models. So a lot of our standard tests, aside from maybe the signet ring, just don't really fall under that category. They're really much more oriented towards detail and what the normal jewelry space is working with. So let's go through the casts. So we have the luxury of comparing the 3D print and the cast right next to each other. The overall quality of the skull is, without a doubt, it's perfect. There's nothing to say in terms of voids. There is no surface texture. Every single detail turned out flawless. I can't even see layer lines from the print. It's just great. everything about this particular one turned out awesome. Let's move on to the micro pave. This one, there's a little bit of problems with the stone settings. I really wasn't too disappointed when a 0 something millimeter stone setting hole didn't come out. It kind of got filled in. So I wasn't shocked. However, we've talked with ResinWorks support, and they actually use this same model as part of their testing, and they're actually getting good results with it. So I think this comes down to printer settings. Either way, what I put into the kiln is exactly what I got back, much like the 200 series. So moving on to the other models, we've got the Signet ring. This one, much like the 200 series, it doesn't have any hollowing on the back. There was that layer shift once again, just like the 200 series, but that is definitely from the supports breaking off. I thought that I was supporting it well enough, but I guess not. So now I've learned my lesson, and what I put into the kiln is what I got back. Moving on to the vintage saddle ring. Once again, I didn't think this one would work, but this one comes pre-sprued. Or rather pre-supported. I actually just keep those supports in place as sprues because I figure why not? It actually works out pretty well. And we started doing it, we just haven't stopped. Every stone seat and all the little holes that accompany it came out flawlessly. There is no surface texture to be seen anywhere. And then I actually have two engagement ring styles here. There's this really thin one that turned out really nice. There's no surface texture. Everything's exactly where it belongs, and it's thin. So we managed to print something really small with this resin, and it turned out great. And then there's the more standard engagement ring that we talk about in other videos. This one, again, I can't keep saying the same phrase over and over again, guys. It turned out perfectly. There's just no surface texture. Everything's exactly where it belongs. So overall, resin is flawless. I would say that despite the minor inconveniences and the tuning, the very, very fine tuning, like we're talking F1 car motor type tuning that you have to go through with this resin, as soon as you dial that in, you've got a very solid winner when it comes to the casting quality. So that's my overall verdict. ResinWorks EasyCast 400 series is an A+ in my book. So we're going to be putting this resin into our ranked list. If you haven't checked that out, by the way, it's definitely worth a little bit of a read. So we're actually currently in the process of redoing our ranked list. It's going to have all the same information from the previous one. It's just going to be logged a little bit differently so that we don't have to keep changing the link when we go to update it. And that's actually going to be available directly through our website, not the blog. But do check out the blog because we have several entries in there, and we'll be updating it when we have time, going through and explaining a little bit more of the ins and outs of the process and how the resin handled. Little things like the exposure settings that we used throughout, some of the issues that we had, other things like that, and how they compare to others more specifically. So that's all I really have to say about that. If you're feeling especially generous, we do have our merch bar below. Check out some of our t-shirts. Not this t-shirt, I'm not wearing one right now. Well, we have several, and we're going to be putting up a lot more as we design them. We also have a membership program. So if you're interested in doing some of this type of work, if you're trying to set up your own studio, definitely consider that, because we're building a Discord channel with people from all over the world who are in the very same boat you might be, asking questions and just kind of building off of each other. And of course, you have access to me on a more one-on-one basis to help you set up your studio or process or whatever you might be having in terms of problems. I can help you from the printing all the way to the finishing. So hope to see you there. I will see you guys in the next video.